It's Tom here on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again. This is a relic from beyond this YouTube channel. This is the first, well, one of the very first forays into working on guitars. 12 years later, I am going to do some work on this to get it into a great playing order for my niece. Sorry, I already started without you, but yeah, just peeling the tape off here is so satisfying. The paint job came out absolutely great. There's a little bit of a lip that we're gonna get rid of, and we're gonna clean up some of that stuff that went a little bit over. You thought getting to the part where we're done with finish was that we were on the home stretch? Oh boy, no, there's still plenty to go. I'm just gonna use some 1500 to do the same trick. But here's a good example of why, I don't know if that comes off in the, or shows in the camera, but why I masked off the tuner positions as well as I did, because there is a lot of green in there. It would have seeped through had I not done that. While the electronics didn't work in this to begin with, they didn't stand a chance because there was, well, you saw what the inside was before. So we're just gonna fix that up real nice right now. Shielding paint. Rear guard from TLC Guitar Goods. I love this stuff. So we're gonna apply 2 layers of this. So 1 layer and then come back later on and do the next. Especially because applying this on a finish, especially a glossy one, won't go on as well because it's a bit hydrophobic. With 2 coats, we'll get a nice even coat in there. This is gonna look great as well. Even though it's on the inside, at least I know it looks good on the inside. Now that we have everything nicely finished up and clear coated, what we're gonna move on to is doing all the work on the neck. So that includes cleaning up the fretboard, oiling the fretboard, making sure that it's flat and straight, checking the fretwork, more than likely having to do leveling, crowning, and polishing, making the nut. We're going to be doing that out of corian. Yeah, then moving on to finally putting this thing together. We are going to be cleaning out the pickups and cleaning up some of the screws for the bridge because they're currently a bit rusty and not looking too great. I am going to get some close-ups of these pickups though because there's some interesting findings about them that I want to kind of point out. I can't recall if there's anything about the neck itself that I kind of especially want to pinpoint. We'll go through it once we go through all the different processes, but yeah. Let us, well, I've already started, so let's work on the nut. All right, so the very first thing that we want to do is flatten one side of the corian block we have here because currently it's not flat or it's not square, so we're going to square that off on the leveling beam here. Right, all right. Now, measuring out the knot slot. That's 3.7. 2.4. All right, so what we do need to do is do a little bit of work here on the knot slot itself. We have the back of the knot slot, which is right here, which is the end of the fretboard. That we don't want to change, but this other side clearly is not level, so we need to get that working up to scratch. All right. That should be just fine. So we're going to take our measurement. It's going to be about there. Yeah, mark it out like that. Now we know to cut to that line. So going to get our jeweler's jig out, lift our table, and get to cutting. Now that we have our nut blank cut, we need to figure out its dimensions. We're going to take a half cut pencil, put that over on top of the frets here, and then a scalpel, please, to edge. It's there, and there. And there we go. We have our nut dimensions. Now we just need to cut that out and refine the shape, put it in place, and then get to fretwork and stuff like that. I decided to go corian because this, I believe, had a rubbish plastic nut on it before, which I very much did not enjoy at all, but it also shattered. Essentially, what corian is, it's a synthetic material that is used for kitchen countertops most often. And a little hack that every luthier knows, that if you look for someone who sells a corian countertop, then you can ask for them to send you samples that you don't need to send back. And sometimes you can get them for free at a hardware store. Sometimes you'll have to pay like a minimal fee or something, but you'll end up with big blocks of corian like this. Now, this is great because I can make a lot of nuts out of this. Now we have something to finesse. There, that looks about good. I'll just turn it around so you can see what I mean. There we go. And now we're gonna figure out the nut slots. So to do that, I'll take my protractor and scalpel blade. Usually I tend to go with 4mm on the treble side and 3.5mm. Oh, sorry, 4mm on the bass side, 3.5mm on the treble, which is there. Then we're going to take our nut slotting rule here. We're going to line up the markings. There. Pick out our right gauged nut slotting files. Going to get these to depth and cutting them at an angle so that the intonation point stays at the back of the nut. So I'm cutting them at an angle so the string will follow into the tuner. And I can already tell that the nut slots are going to be pretty deep, so we have more than enough room to actually take this nut down a little bit, because you don't want the string sitting deep in the nut, like here somewhere. You kind of want half of the string to be inside the slot and then half of the string to be protruding on the top. And here we are. So, nut slots cut. Currently, they're a bit deep. So I'm going to take that top down ever so slightly. And yeah, then we'll start finessing all the sharp corners and stuff. Then fits right in there, feels great, looks great, and we're going to put it in place with a little bit of super glue. This fretboard is pretty gross, and before I do any work on it, I'm going to clean it. So to do that, I'm going to grab myself a towel, paper towel here, and then in the background, I hope you can see this, it's just a bottle with clear liquid in it. This is isopropyl alcohol, and I'm going to use that to clean up all the residue gunk from this fretboard because it is gross. Ugh, gross. Yeah, I don't think it's been cleaned once. Poor guitar. It's gone through a lot of abuse. How level is this thing? Not very. It dips at the ends. Oh, it's coming loose a bit. There. It's been really tight. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Needs a little bit more. yeah, that's it. I'm gonna put just a little bit of relief into this because now it's completely flat. So about a quarter turn. And we should see, yep, that is bang on perfect. Exactly what we wanted. All right, admittedly, I already started taping on the neck before checking whether there's any fret rock. There we go. Oh, wow. So, masking off the fretboard in preparation for some fretwork. So we're going to level the frets. I don't see that there would be a need to do too much. All right, so there we are. I polished up the frets real nice, used the fret polishing abrasives, then some metal polish, and a buffing wheel on the Dremel, and these are looking fantastic. There we go. Now I can get the sheen. There we go. All right, so now we can wipe away some of the excess and really polish up that fretboard real nice. All right, so I finally got my shipment of the missing parts and items, so we're gonna get down to the final stretch here, which is gonna start off with electronics and more so cleaning up some electronics and then moving on from there. Now, there's a whole lot going on with these pickups, first of which is just, I mean, look at that. So we're going to clean that up for sure. And the only way I figured out which was the bridge and which was the neck was with this little extension. So because they needed to go a bit longer, they didn't have a longer wire, and then they just added some. So we're going to clean that joint up, use some heat shrink to actually make it look decent. Same thing with this. Keep the color code. I am going to replace the tape because it looks god-awful. The thing that I've been trying to figure out is where these pickups are from, because my initial thought was that these are the pickups that I had in my SX at the time, but upon closer inspection, they do have solder here, and the varnish would mean that these are the original pickups from the Westone Custom, so the guitar that the 10th anniversary guitar is based on. So a Westone LP copy. So probably very cheap stock pickups, but we do need to clean them up because they do look fairly gross. So we're going to be using some isopropyl alcohol, some cotton swabs, and yeah, get that gunk off of there. Because I suspect that there would be, yep, there's some stuff that's gone on the inside as well, some gunk. So it's nice to get kind of deep clean of these pickups and just pull it pretty tight and wrap it all the way around. And clean off the bits I don't need. I think that probably looks a little bit better than the tape. It matches the satin feel a bit better. The one that we are going to need to do some repair work on is the single coil, the middle position, because this is, I want to say tragic. I do need to make sense of this. I'm going to bleep this, but this is a show, quite honestly. Plastic, what would you call it, sheath or whatever. So old, it's basically falling apart in my fingers. Need to expose these two wires. Now I don't know why there are two. Fairly certain one of them is not going to get used. The red and the bare are swirled together. You can barely see it, but they are. Of wiring, I'm still going to keep them separate for now. Tin all the ends that I have here. Then heat shrink over on top of the entire lot with this bigger yellow bit. Flambe. There we go. Now to open up the end a little bit, expose all the three wires, and get to wiring the entire lot into the pickguard. Time to load the pickguard with all manner of goodies. I have already picked out new screws and new springs, new Springsteen. If you haven't unsubscribed already, I know that's probably good enough cue to do so. Making sure this time that I'm putting the pickups in the right way around, because previously both the pickups were both the wrong way. There is a very easy way to tell. Wow, I just forgot what these are called. Okay, well, my brain just completely tilted on me, but the screws on here, make sure those are on the front, on the neck pickup, and at the back on the bridge pickup. So they're opposite directions. Usually a good way to go is by figuring out where the wire is going, but here the wire is going up instead of from below. I do believe that they didn't really care all that much at the factory where these pickups were originally made. Somebody's probably already asked the question in the comments that why, if my niece wants to play Metallica and stuff like that, then why am I putting stock crap pickups in this and not like EMGs or something? It's like, yes, she's gonna learn probably to play Metallica on this, but then she's gonna want to chase the tone. And I want to be there to provide upgrades because, yeah, I don't mind at all that she's getting into guitars and stuff. If she does, then we're going to go down that rabbit hole together and we're going to be upgrading her guitar or perhaps looking for new guitars and stuff like that. But I think this is a good starting point for somebody who's just starting to play the guitar. It's still, you know, a custom-ish. It is a custom instrument. It is. The only thing about it that... No. Yeah. Just forget that I was gonna derail that. It is a custom instrument. So, you know, there's that. Now the middle pickup also matches the pick guard, which is pretty cool. And one of the reasons why I put clear coats on top of the black paint is just to give a little bit more protection. I am well aware that somewhere down the line, especially if the middle single coil just doesn't work, then we're going to replace the pick guard with like a double humbucker black pick guard. We'll still get, you know, pickup heights and everything like that figured out a little later. I know that this looks kind of tedious. I mean, it is, but I'm not used to working with pick guards and don't really get strats coming in. Put in place. See, I did it again. I accidentally put the pickup in the wrong way around. Even though I just told you which way to put it. Alrighty. So I also got brand new CTS pots for this. 500K this time. The previous ones were 250s. Switch is still the old switch. There was nothing wrong with it, so I didn't really see a need to go and change it. We're going to route the wires real nice and clean. We're going to get them going like that. All right, so as a very quick recap, so what do we have here? We have everything nicely lined up. We have all the grounds. We have the bridge ground, then the jack, output, and ground. Master volume, tone, tone. Yeah, everything routed nicely into separate ground points, because that's what I like to do. Right, let's get this in the guitar.